Today we're going to start our next section in Vincennes University, and we're learning about gradients. A gradient is something that, here's your next, let me pull this up, is a blend of two or more colors or tints of the same color. You can use the gradients to create color blends, add volume to vector objects, add light, shadow. Gradients really will add depth to your artwork that you're creating. And we're going to learn about the different types of formats you use in Illustrator to create. There's different types of gradients you can use. So we'll go through those today. Here are a couple things. You'll get this sheet later on linear, radial, and freeform. Freeform is new to Illustrator CC 2019, which is a really cool feature that it allows. And then you'll just go through some different things that you can do with gradients to redirect the flow of how the colors flow through the object. So as you get ready for this, you're going to download this file and open it in Illustrator. It will be blank like this. I have already done an example for you on what we're going to be creating, but you can color it any way you want. You're going to color everything with gradients, and then you just must have the different type of gradients to score perfect on this assignment. So first we're going to start off with the different types of gradients. Your gradient tool is this tool right here, and if you hover over it, you'll see gradient, and you'll click on it. And then you'll also have a gradient box, which is right here beside it, where you can direct the color. So you are going to get your layers panel here, and you're going to start off by, let's do the circle. The circle is a circle gradient. You can click on it, and here's your options. You can see linear, radial, and freeform. Right now it's not allowing you to do freeform because if you zoom in, you will see that this is lots of different type of lines that are separated, and freeform only works for like one object at a time. So we're going to do radial, and I think we did this a pink color. So you can pick anything you want. You double click on the circles, and you will pick whatever colors you want. So we'll just do that, and then do a blue. That's pretty. So then you click off of it, you'll see how the radial effect is. You grab your gradient tool again, and you can actually, it's an outline, switch it back. Okay. You can actually see how you can change the direction by just clicking and dragging over all those. So you can do a gradient over multiple objects, especially if they're going to be the same color. So it drags over that. That looks pretty good. So that is the radial gradient. Now here underneath the beach circle, I'm going to do the same thing, but see how the circle is not quite fitting in there. So this is one object, so you're going to grab your gradient again and see how you see this big circle. You can actually drag the circle in like this so it fits better into that circle, and you're going to drag it out. And then you're just going to fit it right in there. You don't have to do it that way, but sometimes if you're trying to get a perfect oval gradient that flows around the circle, that's your best option. You can actually turn how this looks as well, if I can get my little turning thing up. If you don't like it that way, and you can play with your points on how the color looks. So gradients really have a lot of flexibility in the way they look by just adjusting everything together. So now we're going back out. So there's a lot of options what you can do to make this look nice or the way you want it. Get this to turn back now so it fits in there. Okay, so I think you get the point on that. It's not real bright, so let's do another option is to double click and then you can just change the colors. Yeah, let's do yellow. And you can adjust in here and then you can adjust these points. Okay, so that is how you adjust the radial circle to match the circle it's in. Grabbing your pointer again, let's go to Miami and we're going to do a linear on this one. Let's turn this back to a blue color. Oh, actually this one's going to be blue. This is going to be a more of a hot pink color. Let's go lighter. Too light. That. And I don't want it to go from left to right like it's doing, so I want it to go up and down. So you take your gradient tool again with everything still selected, and I hold shift so it goes straight. Maybe. And you see how that, as you drag, you can see the different color directions that it's going. So that's actually a little bit different in the new CC because usually it comes up with a bar, but there you go. You just click and drag. I actually want this to look a little like a hard line like right here. So I can actually, I'm going to move this down a little bit so it's all the way at the bottom. And I want more of the top pink. And then I'm going to drag this cursor straight next to it so then it kind of creates that a little bit of a more straight line right there. So there you go, like that. So it just gives it kind of a different effect without that fade. So the closer they are together, that's how you can create that straight line. So that's linear. A lot of options there. You can also apply a gradient to the stroke. That's newer in Photoshop as well, adding gradients to strokes. So to do that, you just you click on the stroke and then you click on a gradient option that you want and it will do it for you. And again, you can adjust how it looks by just double clicking on the color modes and changing it. You can actually, now this is new for CC 2019, is grab the eyedropper, and if you want to match a color, you just grab the eyedropper and then it matches the color by just clicking on it. So that's actually something brand new in CC, which makes it a lot easier to match colors for gradients because usually that's really hard to match colors for gradients. So that is how you would do, and you can do linear and for strokes. So linear going from, you know, up to down depending on how you drag out the direction the color's going. You can also do radial, which will make it like in a circular motion, and you actually can do like a cross. So for the strokes you can actually do this, which makes it look a little 3D-ish with like a bevel. So that's actually new in 2019 as well. So they really upped their game, Adobe, for the 2019 version, if you ever knew how the old versions were for gradients. So all right, so those are for gradients so far. The next step is we're going to do in the background, this is new to we're going to do a full background here. We're going to send it to the back. And you can actually start pinpointing where you want color, which makes it a lot easier, which is called, you can't do it on strokes, but you can do it on fill color. So make sure you're on the fill color. And you can click right here, and this is called the freeform gradient. And it allows you to put points where you want color. And so you just start adding, double clicking the points and adding color. Let's do red. And then you can actually add additional points and add more color and see how that just kind of flows in. You can like make this bigger if you want yellow to flow through that better. And then say you want like a darker, well, you want like a orangier red there, and then you can add another color here. Like this is like the coolest feature that Adobe has done so far, I think, with the gradients, because you can actually do this cool color mode, which is was a lot easier than what it used to be. So that is your freeform gradient. And then one other gradient we haven't talked about is the gradient mesh, which is similar but a little more detailed to what the freeform was. But to do a gradient mesh, so this is our beach ball, and we're gonna go to Object, Create Gradient Mesh, and then you can pick how many rows you want. Like if you wanted 2 and 2, it would just be a bigger span of color. If you do 4 and 4, it like allows you to pinpoint color a little bit more. You can do a flat color, or you can do to the edge, or you can do to the center. So just depending on what you're looking for. So we're trying to get that round ball shape. So I think I'm going to leave it like that. And okay, so now we don't want it black. So what you do now is you're going to get your white pointer tool, and you can start clicking inside of boxes and double clicking and just start making it the color that you want. So you have to kind of have in mind what your idea is to coloring, so you know how many points to put it in. But we're making a beach ball, so we're going to make it colorful and try to make it look like a beach ball. This is just an example. Gradient meshes are great to use if you're trying to make something look realistic as you draw it in Illustrator. So we may have more assignments on gradient meshes. But now, since Adobe has that new freeform gradient, it makes it a lot easier to do stuff like that too. So just depending on what you're trying to do to, or what look you're going after, pretty much. So we kind of went through all the gradient styles and how to edit it and add color. One additional piece I was going to show you guys today for Vincent's University tutorial is how to use a blend mode to make a cool effect. So, and I did the blend mode over here, and this is what I'm going to show you how to do. And this is all built from a gradient. So this was my gradient right here. And it's just a blue, a darker pink, and a light pink. Has a linear spread on it, and so it just kind of gives it a cool effect. So I'm going to make that really small, and we're going to make a bunch of these to blend together to make that color. So you're going to Command C, Command D, oh, wrong one, sorry. Command C, Command F, which pastes on front, and then Command D. That's a lot. Sorry. We'll get this. Okay. We're going to do Option Drag and just kind of make it close. And now you're going to hit just Command D a bunch of times, because it just will even it all out. And then you're going to select it all, and you're going to go to Object, Blend, Blend Options. And you're going to do it to specific steps. You're going to do 8 steps, and you're going to do Align to Page. Hit OK. And then you're going to go Object, blend, and then you're going to make it, and then it blends all together. So there's your color that you're going to use. You're going to Option drag it to copy it, and then you're going to hold shift and drag your first letter. Now keep in mind, to do this you want to pre-draw out your name or whatever you want to put on it, and you're going to do that with the pencil tool because it needs to be a stroke. So whatever you want, you're just going to draw it out, but each letter needs to be separate to do this as well. You can't have all the letters together, it won't look right. So you select your first letter that you drew out, select the gradient that you made, and you're going to go to blend again, and you're going to replace with spine, and then you get this pretty cool effect of a gradient. 3D, which I know Nick really likes. It's a new way of making things look a little more 3D and giving it a more personality. So we're going to option drag that again, grab the next letter, and then you're going to hit blend and replace with spine. One more time, you're going to option drag that, grab the next one, and then you're going to blend and replace with spine, and then you can grab the last one and do the same thing. You're going to hit blend and replace with spine. So then you have this cool effect. I'm just going to copy that and then place it back over here with our colorful beach scene and make it fit in there. Okay, so this is what you're going to do now. Is you need to have the 3 different kinds of gradients: a linear, a radial, and a freeform gradient in your picture. You'll need to have a gradient mesh somewhere, and you'll also need to have this blend mode. You need to type your own name up here. You have to draw it with the pencil tool, and you're going to do it with a blend mode. So this is what we're working on today: some gradients and those different styles, and using the blend modes to create this, and gradient meshes, and the 3 different type of gradients you can do in the gradient panel. So if you have any questions, come and ask me, but that's kind of hopefully understandable for you guys.